Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirsho here, and now, before we get started, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku. We also had Marcy and Chloe. These three have been having a lot of problems. But right now, the most pressing one is what's happening at Gamora. Now, when they were able to get their counterfeit passports and were told they can go to the strip, they threw a little bit of a celebration. Chloe came on to Izuku. The next morning, Chloe admitted this to Marcy, and Marcy was not very happy about hearing about this interaction. After they were able to get their passports and get everything planned out, they got disguises, Deku's tail was removed, his horns were removed. They covered the extra appendages they had and made their way to the strip. They got through and got to Gamora, where after 7 days, they've started to get a little bit bored. They've searched, they've looked, and they cannot find anybody a part of the Enclave. They can't catch a scent and recognize any faces. However, after a week and a few more days after that, a 5-person squad showed up. Good old Scarface showed up that Deku can remember. Another person, Marcy, clearly did not like, since she was ready to throw out rationality and kill that person on the spot. Now, with that being said, they tried to make a bit of a plan. Marcy, she cannot participate. The plan was to lure the members of the Enclave to a private room somewhere. Chloe was going to try and find out if one of them has a room key, and later they could probably do something with that. However, Deku, whenever he snuck off to go get the disguises, he was mistaken for somebody else. He was wearing an outfit, and the person, when they saw him, thought he was the dancer that was late for their performance. So they dragged Deku out of the room and to the stage. But before he went on, he dropped Chloe's disguise, and the person gave Deku jet fuel. However, right now, he does somewhat stand there, high as a kite, as music does begin to play. And with that being said, let's get started. Deku, he does look out into the crowd. The music does start playing, and he does focus. He's taking 2 extra doses, and this new chem, yeah, he's seeing a lot of color, a lot of things that don't make sense. Deku, hearing the beats of the song, before he does, gonna turn his head and look at somebody. Marcy, bring her hands up with a drink. Before she does, gonna nudge her head to the left, and Deku, he does try to focus. Run out him turning and going to step towards the dance floor. Currently, him going to bring his hands up as people, they do go to stare at him. And this definitely is not good. He's not too sure what to do. Not too sure how to do this. I mean, he's seen some of the other shows. Come on, he's gotta think about what to do. Just do something. Think of something. Come on, just think about what he's seen here before. The dancers in the cages, the people outside. Right. Deku going to bring his hand up as he does go to grab onto it, turning and throwing out his left hand. And people, some of them, they do just stare at him. Deku staring on as people, they still start to make a bit of a commotion. Deku seeing some men and several women going to start roaring out at him. Before he does, gonna let go and begin to step forwards, bring up his hands as he's to take 5 steps forwards and then stomp down with his left foot. It making a loud sound as Deku does a grab his vest and then gonna somewhat pull it forwards. tidying it up before he does go to throw his hands out. And people do go to stare at him. Deku getting a good response from the crowd. Right. Okay. Get attention. That's what he needs. Keep their attention. That's what he's got to do. They want a show. That's what he's got to give them. Right. Okay. This might be easier than he thought. Deku going to start by swinging his right arm as he does going to throw up his left hand, grabbing his hat and then going to throw it off. Him throwing it in the crowd as some people do someone going to stare on. His bandana still on his head. Before Izuku, he does go to throw it on his right hand and then go to throw up his left. Him grabbing at his vest before he does go to rip one of the buttons off as he does go to throw it open. Before he does go to turn and make his way back over to the pole. Currently, him bring up his left hand and then going to swing around. Before he does go to smash on his right foot and I'm going to throw it up. Before he does go to throw out his right hand and with his pointer finger pointing at the crowd. As he does go to wave a finger at all of them and wait for something. And Marcy does go to stand there. Right now watching as Izuku, he does give one hell of a performance. Her sipping her drink for bringing up her pit boy. And going to write a few things down. And there is currently Chloe, who does go to step into the room as she does go to turn her head. Her in her new disguise and staring at the stage. Right now Deku going to bring his hands up and grab onto the pole, swinging around and throwing his legs up. Before he does go to throw his body up and then go to slide down. Currently him stopping at the bottom with his hands in a grip. Before he does go to bring up one of his hands and then to climb up. Currently throwing on his legs and going to let go of the pole. People watching as Deku does start to plank before he does go to bring up one of his hands. Him going to throw it down before he does to swing his body. And Chloe does start to comment on a few things. Since what they're seeing is certainly... Did you know he could do that? I did not. This is a new one. I mean, look at him go. I'll say. Currently, them staring. For Chloe does get a turn, commenting. So, she saw what happened. That led to this. He was caught. He was caught? And here I thought he was doing it just for fun. No, I don't think so, but look at the crowd. Them staring on, before something else is tossed into the crowd, and people start to roar out more. Izuku stepping forwards before he does this one bend down, bring his hand up and reaching into the crowd, grabbing the face of the woman from the Enclave, and she does a lean forwards, as Deku does a fall onto one knee and gonna lean in, and she stares directly at his face. Before Deku, he does go to bring up his right hand, him grabbing her by the nose before he does go to pull her forward, him going to whisper something before he does go to let go, pushing her backwards into the crowd with a bit of force. And she does go to stare at that. Before Deku, he does go to move backwards and go to spin. Him gonna do so before he has to stand there. Bring up his hands and then gonna turn. Throwing his hand up and gonna throw it directly down onto the side of his leg. Before he does go to turn his body with his right leg. Him going to stand there for a second facing the crowd. Before stepping forwards and gonna grab onto the pole. As people they do start to cheer and roar out more. And Deku, he does a look on. Before he does a look around and see a few more people here. And the man who was enjoying his drink, he currently is walking away. Deku turning his head before he does gonna lay his head onto the pole. Him turning and watching the man go. In this, it does keep his attention. As he has a linger there for a second, and the song, it does almost start to die down. Before Deku, he does go to step forwards and bring his hands up. Going to bring them up and throw them directly at his chest, running them down as he does go to grab into the loops of his jeans and go to throw his hips forwards. And people, some of them do go to whistle out. As Deku, he does go to stare and the song is going to end. And this, it does going to catch everyone's attention. Before someone does go to at least come walking out. But Deku, he does at least still somewhat go to dance. Him bring his hands up and then going to motion to people to come towards him. And someone does come walking on a stage, grabbing Deku by his left forearm and going to talk about it. Okay. Come on, stud. They've gotta sit him down. But I was still having fun. Okay. Maybe 3 doses wasn't the right amount. Them pulling him away. And Chloe does get to see that. Before she should turn and start making her way that way. Telling Marcy she'll be back soon. She'll go check on him. Right. Her going to kill her drink in turn. Putting it down before she does at least tap her fingers. And the person at the bar does a turn after serving some drinks. Them making their way over to help her with her order. Now, Deku, he currently does his own sit down outside, trying to regain his thoughts and compose himself. However, right now, the shapes he's seeing and the colors he's seeing, they're great. They're amazing. It's definitely something. And right now, Chloe does come walking up. Right now, Deku laying on a giant bed that does sit on one of the tents. And whenever Chloe does bring her hands up, there's actually Deku, who does get a turn. Right now, seeing a distorted shape before he starts to recognize the dark hair. Bring his hands up and going to grab Chloe by the arm. Him going to just want to sit up and pull her down onto the bed. Talking about it. Hey, Chloe. So how'd I do? Uh, you okay, Izuku? I'm fine. Perfectly perfect. per- perfectly fine. Just uh, dancing is a little more fun than I remember. Not like in the doll. No. Nah. What were those? Director? No. Dancing is funner without directions. Not even our damn sergeants. Instructors? That was the word I was looking for. Instructors. Oh, shit. Okay. Izuku, did you take anything someone gave you? Come on. Just something good. It tasted weird. Almost like whiskey, but bad. Smelled crazy, too. Smelled crazy? Okay. Did he give you jet? Something. Uh, why? Oh shit. Okay, her bring her hands up, grabbing Deku by his face and making him look directly at her. For she's to tell him, okay, He was given jet fuel. She's seen this high before. Crap. Okay. Shit. Fixer might not fix this in time. Okay. Uh, he's in no condition to do anything. This is bad. Really bad. Two people are going to walk up. And right now, Chloe does get a turn. It being two members of the Enclave. The woman Deku grabbed whenever he was on stage, and a man who both do good to talk about it. They had a bit of ideas, the things they wanted to discuss with the two. Listen, my friend isn't in the best condition right now. You might want to give him about an hour. I think he might sober up then. Seriously? Looking pretty good for a guy out in the wasteland. He tries. Though, what about you? The person going to stare at Chloe. And Chloe, she does try to hide the amount of disdain she wants to show on her face, the amount of rage, the aggression. And the person, they do just want to talk about it. They're willing to go for her. A few of these faces here he does recognize. She knew? Yeah, started not too long ago. I haven't seen you around before. Not really used to coming here. Nice place, don't get me twisted, especially for the things we typically do. Nice to get a bit of a vacation. Though, working here, I assume you just enjoy the work. Meg has its ups and downs. Usually, some downs, especially not with the right client. The two both still gonna laugh, and Chloe talks about it. So what could she do for both of them? Uh, hmm. Well, he's not gonna be available for a few hours, right? Yeah, I gotta take him back to his room. It isn't good when Breed's like this. We might get in trouble. And if that happens, then they might not give him chems. He might not be able to work again tomorrow. Take the day off? I do hope you understand. Sure. We'll be here for a few days. So, it's not like that'll be anything bad. Though, maybe tonight. Might have to do a bit of a rain check. The three go to discuss a few things, and Chloe does try to discuss quite a bit. The man, he wants to pay her, and that she can use. She can take him out, and then later take out a few other people. And there currently is Marcy, who does sit inside pouring herself more whiskey in her glass, thinking about it a lot, setting down the bottle and going to stare at it before she's going to take a swig and sit there, turning and going to wait. Right now, there is not another performance. That show got the crowd all riled up, and some people, they've left, while others just want to enjoy a casual little drink, and others, they do want to see if they can at least win a jackpot, see how that might go for them. And this, it does have her attention. Before she says stand up and turn, looking towards the door and seeing Chloe walk in. Her going to look directly at Marcy, and she does understand. Bring her hands up and going to grab her bottle. Before she is going to make her way towards the hallway Chloe is moving down. And when she has to step into the elevator, there is where the two, they do go to a stand there. And the man starts to talk about it, turning to Chloe and going to bring his hands up, talking about bringing his hand under her shoulder, about how maybe they can have a little bit of her turning, bring her hand up and jabbing him directly into the throat, before Marcy does a turn, pressing the emergency stop as Chloe does bring her hands up, smashing the guy directly into the wall and going to pick him up into the air. And the man, he has a stare at her before she's to open her mouth and bare her fangs. And this does cause the man to try and somewhat wheeze out a bit of terror before she does go to turn and going to throw him towards the ground. Before she does go to bend down and going to move forwards, bring her hands up and smash him across the face very hard. And the man, he does go to collapse onto the floor. And she does get to pick the man up. Her going to turn to Marcy, who does go to repress the button and the elevator does start to move. It dinging to a floor as Chloe does it take the bottle from Marcy, putting it into the man's hand and holding onto it carefully. As she does, gonna move into the hallway and Amanda's at a turn, seeing the passed out drunk who probably fell asleep on the damn floor. And the dancer who's accompanying him. The man concerned for making his way over. And upon closer approach, he does get to see her. Her expressing about how the guy still had a bit more time, and how he paid a little extra. The man nodding his head before he has a turn, telling her not to rob the damn client, since that would breach integrity with their clientele. And she doesn't understand. Them taking them into their room and going to secure him properly. Now, we do actually have Deku, who he does go to sit here, thinking about a few things. He is not too sure. They brought him to a room and locked the damn door. Okay, okay. Yeah. The hell? Oh god. He thinks he's... Oh shit, he feels like he's gonna puke. Deku going to try and scramble to his feet, slowly making his way over, for he does a vomit into a bucket. Currently, him sitting here for a minute as he is trying to breathe. In this, it does have him concerned. Before he does a fully stand and go to look down, his jacket missing, and he's just in these shorts. Okay. 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 Where the fuck is he? It looks like that room from earlier. Walking over, and the door, it is latched closed. Deku unlocking it and gonna open it. Before he does a step out and turn, thinking about the other members of the Enclave they need to track down. And there is where Marcy does it around a corner. Watching as Deku does come stumbling out. Her asking him if he's okay. Yeah, fine. You have Psycho? I am not about to give you Psycho while you are still high. I need mental clarity, aggression. These... No. Do you have Fixer? Do you have any fucking Fixer? That's about a bad idea. Are you still high? I'm not feeling too well. How long have I been out? I don't know. Chloe got you to a room a little more than an hour ago? But, okay, her going to pull something out. Before she does go to open the container and grab something. Deku going to stare at her before she does hold it out to him, telling him to take these, since it might not work for right now, but it's worth a shot. And Izuku does take the fixer, trying to calm himself down as Chloe, she has come walking up the stairs. Her talking about a few things, since she lured another guy to the room. Though Scarface she can't find. And Izuku does need to work his charm. Deku's standing here. Before he does go to start to feel the effects of this miracle chem. Now, Izuku, he does go to stand there. As he does, someone shake his face for turning, headbutting the wall, and then going to turn back, expressing, okay, he can do this. He can do this. This, this chem is way different from the ones they were trained on. Yeah, it is. Uh, Chloe, how do I handle this? I'm trying not to freak out. Okay. Her stepping forwards, telling Izuku that the worst thing he can do right now is freak out, especially if he has super strength. That's the worst possible situation. He'll draw too much attention. How about he tries to lure in that one soldier, and she'll try and find the other chick. And then they can work on Scarface, see what to do. And they do understand. Currently, Deku going to go out and try and find that old soldier, as she currently does stand at the bar, ordering a drink as Deku does come walking up, bringing his hand up and grabbing directly on to her lower back, leaning against the bar and talking about it. Hey, you saw me dancing earlier. So you're up. Bounce back fast. I tend to do that, though still feeling it. But, what'd you think of earlier? Not bad. Not bad at all. Her bring her hand up, poking a finger into Deku's chest, talking about it. That is solid. What's his routine like? You know, here, there, just gotta try and take care of myself. Though, Deku leaning forwards, bring his hand up and directly to her chin, asking exactly when's the last time someone took care of her. And she doesn't want to lean forwards. Deku pulling back and telling her, that cost extra. Tease. I'm just listening to the prices I've been told to give you. Though, if you do want to, you know, we could go somewhere. I can get us a private room and, well, that can be something. Serious. I'm pretty sure my boss is still on the casino floor, and I don't know where everyone else has gone. Though pretty sure they're all up back. You know how it is. Though, your friend? Nah, she's a bit of a stick in the mud. Not sure where she's run off to. She came to Gamora, sweetheart. How much of a stick in the mud can she be? Fair. Though, not really too sure. How about this? You find her, I can give you a discount. 2 for 1? How's that sound? The woman staring at Deku. Before she does go to down her drink and turn, walking off to find her friend. And Deku does that turn, bring up his thumb as he does go to stare at Chloe. And Marcy does someone sit there, watching on before she's to make her way to the casino floor. Now, Deku, he does gonna lure these two back to the hotel room. Right now, them trying to talk about heading up to their own. And Chloe, she is there to help out with the ambush. Now, they do get a few more people secured. And the main problem at this point, is the commander. Though he should be a little bit easier. Currently, him, after a few hours heading back up to the hotel room, he looked at the bar. None of his bastards were there. He looked outside. None of his bastards were there. He was already at the damn casino floor. So either they're out there screwing or they're passed out drunk. Either one's, he's not really going to be all that surprised. So, this should definitely mean something. Him currently standing in the elevator before there is where the elevator door does a stop and the man does a turn, staring at that as he does go step forwards, pressing one of the buttons confused. And there actually is Chloe, who does go to lunge forwards and grab them over the back of the head, smashing it forwards, directly into the elevator wall, before she's to throw up her left arm and go to bring the man up into a chokehold, her wrapping her legs around the man's back, as she does go to bring up her fangs and go to stab the man down, directly into his shoulder, going to bite into him. And the man, he does try to scream out, her bring up her right hand and covering his mouth, as she has a hold on, and the man doesn't move backwards, smashing into the wall as he does try to shake Chloe off, going to step forwards and feeling the venom in his veins, feeling the powerful poison beginning to set in. And Chloe, where the man does start to weaken and let go, he does go to collapse to the ground, her pressing the button as the two do go to stand there, the elevator door opening and going to pick the man up, quickly making their way to the room to bring the man here. And a squad of Enclave soldiers, they're all right now in the exact same place, the same damn time, in a hotel room with 3 of their former experiments. We do actually have about 2 hours later. Izuku, he was finally coming down, and this definitely did not feel too damn good. The fixer definitely helped, and taking more of it, it was at least helping him with the headache mounting. And currently Izuku does sit in the room, sipping from some whiskey as he does get a stand. Him being told about how one of their prisoners finally woke up. And Izuku does go stepping into the room, properly dressed, as he does go step forwards, bending down and going to bring his goggles up to his forehead. Over his eyes are to meet this man's, the man stares at Deku with wide eyes. Clearly, him very surprised to see his face. And Izuku does go to sit there. The man staring at Deku before Deku, he does go to pull off the goggles and talk about it. Bring up his hand and pulling off his bandana. You know, finding all 5 of you, this was not what we expected today. Certainly is quite interesting. Don't you? Deku leaning forwards, and the man does try to headbutt Izuku by smashing him in the forehead. And Deku, he does go to watch the man smash into his head before he does go to start leaning back. Deku talking about it. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. Side effect of their experiment. Though, that doesn't look too damn good. Deku staring at the man, going to stand up talking about it. They'll take care of that later. We've got quite a few things to go over with him. Though, they want to hear from his friends first. That should be easier. Most definitely easier. Deku going to turn. Going to grab the man by his shoulder, applying more and more pressure before the man finally just goes to jolt awake, him squirming against Deku and his arm before he has a turn. Currently, Marcy going to step forwards, bring her hand up and going to smack a man across the face before he does go to start to look around, dazed and confused. However, all five Enclave soldiers are awakened. They do stare at the three. Marcy currently going to pull off her cloak as she does go to unhook her wings, and they do go to expand. Right now, her going to let them go to fully stretch out. Her talking about it. Bring up her own damn hands. That definitely does feel a lot better. It does help the back, though. Her going to step forwards, bring her hand to the man's throat, and leaning in. He would definitely know a bit more about the wings, wouldn't he, Doctor? And this does make the two turn to the man, the attention fully on him, as she does gonna bring her hand up and pull the man's gag out of his mouth. Subject 4, stop. Listen, there's a way to. I don't want to fucking hear it from you. You were a part of what happened to us. I wasn't. I wasn't. I can help. Just stop. 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 Don't kill me. Don't kill them. Marcy, we can use them. Sure we can. Her going to let go of the man's throat as he does start to breathe. Her holding up a pistol and bringing it directly to the man's head. Talking about it. Now, she wants him to answer a damn question. It's going to be quite simple. If he doesn't, pointing to the person next to him, she's going to blow off their head. And then things are going to get a little bit more complicated, since he'll only have 3 chances to explain. Subject 4, that's going to be highly her turning, before she's to pull the trigger and the gun does a click. Her looking at that before Deku does go to step forwards, bring his hand up and going to grab the gun, pulling it from her hand and turning, telling her, holding it out and going to poke it into her chest. Right now, they need him alive. If this doesn't work, then they can kill him. Besides, he emptied her gun earlier. You fucking mess with my shit? Marcy, the way you looked at this guy had me worried. And I've already had to regrow my fucking arm, alright? Remarkable. Listen, I can explain what I can. Deku turning to the man. And whenever Deku does give that aggressive face, it does tell him everything. As Chloe does just stand up and walk out of the room, Deku and Marcy still talking and facing each other. As Chloe does a step back in with a bag, her setting it down as it does make a few metallic sounds together. Her expressing, okay, well now, they need to all have a bit of a chat. She's assuming that the Enclave put them through torture regimens, seeing how much they can endure, see how much they can go take before they break. This is going to be a lot like that. However, she does want all of them to know it is going to be a lot worse than that. Way worse than that. And this is just the beginning. Someone staring her down before she just stand up and remove the gag of the commanders. The man turning and asking Subject 3 if he is still alive. Deku turning before he does go to express. He doesn't have a lot of fun things to say about this guy. though his blood still smells like shit. Though he didn't see his mom downstairs. Maybe he was wrong. Or maybe she's in New Reno. Or West Side. There was a pretty shitty place over there. You fucking asshole. Up, up, up. Don't get a little too ahead of yourself. They go bring the gun down, telling him, right now, there's still a lot they can do. Besides, they're going to pull the gun directly down to the man's kneecap, talking about it. These aren't regular rounds. He can blow out this kneecap and then use a damn stim pack. Hell, he's curious to see how far those meds can be pushed. He's even heard this special little thing, walking over to the bag, pulling out a butcher's knife and talking about it, turning and going to stab it down to the table. If you use Day Tripper, this pretty strong and powerful chem, it does a lot. Deku looking at the commander and going to grab the sides of his chair, leaning down and telling him, what it does is it can fill your body with an intense adrenaline. And funny thing is, he's heard a story about it. Someone used it when they sliced up their victims. Even after losing a fucking arm, they didn't go into shock. They didn't pass out from the blood loss. They were conscious. They go leaning forwards for every single second of it. So, Deku going to turn, holding up and shaking a container. He's going to give one of them this and make them a demonstration. If anyone's willing to give out information, he'd be willing to let them go. And that is, of course, if they're accurate with what they want to hear. And the doctor does just don't talk, expressing. He could tell them a few things. Do they want to know about subject John? All of them turning. And the man, he does know he has their full attention, expressing to them. John is a valuable asset of theirs. He's still functioning as one of theirs. Deku staring at the man before he does to walk up and go to bring up a knife, walking over and holding it directly to the man's throat. Him going to start scraping along the man's chin, pulling the the knife, forward, telling him, okay then, what exactly else is going on with John? Last time he saw him, he had, what, a lot more severe damage? They escaped the warehouse. What happened after? I can only tell you what I know. After your escape, security measures went up. And that's saying a lot. The commander, talking about it. Don't speak. It's very clear what they want. Deku walking back over, stabbing the knife directly down into the man's leg. And the man does it once as Deku does a twist the knife and then go to watch the man look back up at him. Him going to spit it at Deku, who does get a stand, before smashing him in the chest with his foot and knocking the man backwards to the ground. Currently, him going to smash on his chair and go to sit there. And Deku, he does go to bring his foot out and start to push on one of the legs, pulling it back forwards as he does go to bring up his left hand and grab onto the chair. This time him popping the man in the face with a straight jab, before he has to grab the knife and go to twist again, telling him, okay, they weren't talking to him. Though, if he does keep twisting and twisting and twisting, what's bound to give? Mercy walking over, looking down and telling Izuku, he's hit the artery. They're gonna need a stim pack. Her gonna hand one out to him as Deku does stab the stim pack into the man's leg. And the man does start to feel a few things moving and twisting. Before Deku does hold the knife still in the man, he does feel his muscle try and force the knife out. But with something holding it there, it does go to push into it almost like a balloon. And it does slightly give a little bit more. The man flinching out as his leg does start to shake, him gritting his teeth and trying to hold it in. And Deku does it to pull the knife out. Currently, the wound still bleeding as Deku talks about it. Now, that's a trick that they've all heard about in the vaults. Something that was classified. It was simple. Stimpaks can heal a lot of wounds. Can't heal everything, like a loss of a limb, but arteries, bullet wounds, stuff like that, they do speed the process. Though, it does make this sort of information gathering a lot easier. They won't leave scars. And they certainly will make it a lot more interesting. Now, Deku looking at the commander, who does sit there silently as the blood is pouring onto the chair. And Marcy does it to ask the man a question. Where is their vault? I can't tell you that information. Deku turning, as Chloe does go to pull the ball gag out of one of the soldiers' mouth. Them starting to spout off a few things before Chloe does go to stab something directly into their leg, telling them, right now a syringe of medics poking out from their leg. Her beginning to push down and talking about it. And it would only take about a fourth of this vial to get a good high. What does she think happens if she goes the entire plunger, pushing down a little bit more? And the person does stare at Chloe, who does talk about it. You know, she used to be a con. She used to make some of this stuff. Even learned how to use it. She could use this entire thing. Give her an overdose. Go out nothing but numb. Could be the easiest death here. To explain. She was a coward. She went out on her own terms in a place like Gamora. How would the rest of her people see that? The rest of the Enclave. How would they see that? And the person, they do get to stare Chloe down. A little annoyed, but glad that this painkiller is in their system, since it might make torture less of a hassle. Her pulling out the needle and talking about it. The doctor remaining silent on where Vault 16 is. And right now Mercy does get to pull the man to the side. Her dragging him away to the next room before she's to incapacitate him. Right now, knocking him unconscious since he will be the one they send back. Now, the three dudes don't sit there in front of these two soldiers. The others still trying to figure out a way to escape, still trying to think about what to do. But the commander, he does sit there, trying to think how to handle the situation. They've got a doctor, 3 other soldiers, and these 3 caught them by surprise. These damn vault dwellers are not meant to be messed with. And Deku, here's a grab a canteen, holding it up and talking about it, asking them if they're thirsty. What's that? Water or whiskey? It's water. Though if you want the whiskey, Deku shaking the bottle, talking about it. Let him know. At least give a man a last drink before he dies. What makes you think I'm dying? If the Enclave know we go missing here, they're gonna send people to look for us. And knowing our odds, they're gonna find you. Ask around, look around, they'll find you. We'll be long gone by the time they realize that. We've thought this through. Trust us. We've already done a lot with our own business. And you? We want to know exactly where is our damn vault. You're going to tell us. I'm not telling you shit. Fine. Then you get to pick which person I kill next. You're not going to do shit. Deku turned to a man. Before he does, gonna pull up the ball gag and go to tell him. He might want to at least give out some last words. Least he could do. Unless he wants to be the one to talk. The person, they do go to try and scream. Deku clocking them in the face and telling them. They're not gonna have none of that. Besides, they're in Gamora. Anyone screaming usually fucking. So that shit isn't gonna work here. And the person, they do sit there, feeling their teeth clicking with that damn punch. And Deku talks about it. They could toss them out to the damn wolves. Go out into the wasteland. They know a pretty good place where Deathclaw does live. Hell, drop them in Freeside with no weapons and no cash. Take their clothes and give them a walk of shame. See how long it takes before some random thug with a knife comes after them. It's not really that hard. It's just figuring out what to do. So, he's going to give him a drink of water, and he's going to chat. Does he understand? He's trying to be very, very civil, and show a bit of hospitality. They're all military here. And the commander doesn't laugh at that. Before Chloe does a step up to the fourth person and pull the thing out of their mouth. Them going to spit directly at her as she just smack them across the face with the back of her hand. Her talking about it. She could inject her with venom. See what happens? Though, this approach isn't working. Deku giving the man the water before he does a stand. Telling her she's right. Though, maybe something else could work. They could talk. Chloe going to watch as Deku is pulled out of the room by Marcy. And Chloe does sit here leaning against the table, trying to think about what to do, as Deku is talking about something in the next room. Her turning and seeing the canteen, going to grab it and go to take a sip herself. Before she does, gonna pull back quickly and then talk about it, sucking in her breath and letting her breath out, asking them, shaking it exactly which one of them are all thirsty. And the three, they do somewhat look at each other. The commander not trusting anything that they're doing. And that does mean a bit. Her stepping forwards and telling them all to drink. And whenever she is to get some of them to drink the water, the man does stand there. Before he does, go take a sip of it himself and go to relax. Since after the first gulp, he started to take a lot more. And Chloe didn't deny him this. She let him chug it right down. And the man, when he pulled back, he was breathing a bit, coughing a bit more, and trying to just regain everything. He is not doing too damn well. And there's where Chloe does a walk over to the door, pounding on it and talking about it. Her expressing that they're all out of water, and Deku just come walking back into the room. Marcy next to him, as she does go step forwards, pointing out that they can kill her. You sure? Doesn't seem useful. She is killable. A waste of space. Right about that. Though, how do you want to handle that? I'll get it handled. Deku walking over. And right now the woman does to watch as Marcy does go to pull something out of the bag. Her going to pull out a scalpel as she has to pull out a needle as well, along with a syringe. Her staring at the things Mara's sister to pull out, as she's to pull out some glass and then go to pull out more chems, along with a few stim packs, and this is where the woman does her don't talk. She she can tell them what she knows. Oh, a volunteer. Sadly, that's not how this works. Deku walking back over, putting the ball gag back in as the person sitting next to the woman does realize one thing. They don't care right now. Jesus, they're psychotic. Listen, we can tell you what we know. Marcy walking over, before she just stabs something down directly into the person's leg. Them screaming through the ball gag, as right now she does start to get to work. And the commander, he does look at this before he does start to talk. It doesn't matter much. Besides, whatever they do is not gonna work. The airport is too secure. The airport? You were right. It was an airport. Why did I say that? What did you do? Why the hell did I say that? I can't stop talking. I can't just surprise. Or is he going to stand there before Chloe does shake the container and smile? Deku walking over and bending down before he does go to bring his hand up and start going to grab onto the man's knee, beginning to put more and more pressure for talking about how what exactly are they talking about with an airport? Just nothing, nothing at all. It doesn't matter. Come on. You said airport. I want to hear airport. Come on. You know, I can heal your leg. Though the other one still got a spare. And I still got a cleaver to chop off those little piggies. So, exactly what can we do? The man staring at Deku, as Deku doesn't get a response, standing back up and bring up his leg, going to put more pressure onto the man before he has a bend down, grabbing the man by his ankle and going to look at the man. Chloe walking behind him and putting the gag back in his mouth, before Deku does pull the man's leg up and bend it unnaturally. Everyone watching this man does start to scream out, and this, it does cause them great distress. For Deku's to walk around to the other side, and they're going to turn, offering Marcy the honors of breaking the other leg. And she does smile, walking over as everyone they do hear the cracking sound of the bone and things bending wrong. And the man's legs, they do go limp, as right now they do see bone protruding from one of them. And Deku does walk back over, bringing the ball gag up and talking about it. They heard airports. Just something light. I don't know. Listen, it's in the air. We don't know maps. We we know that it's not good. Really, that is good. Light, light. Camp Searchlight. I've heard of it. I've heard of it. Listen, it's just It's something like that. I don't know much. So, what can you tell me about the Enclave? I can't tell you much, just what I've heard. They want to trick Caesar, that they want to gain control. That's all. That is really it. I, I'm just following orders. Now, that little phrase, you know what that is? I don't. That phrase has been used so many fucking times to justify why people do bad things. Do you have a conscience? Yes. Do you have strings on you? No, no, I don't. Then let me tell you one thing. You were not following orders. You did it because someone else with power told you to. You listened to them. I can understand that. But out here is survival. You just happen to get lucky, be a member of the Enclave, born into it from what I hear. You're not lucky. You're a coward. You could leave, you could run, you could try. The fact that you could stick with these people after all this shit I've heard tells me one thing. You stop being a good person the moment you realized you were you. You were Enclave. Deku's standing. Before he does, go to turn and grab the knife. Turning back and going to slice the man's neck. And he does start to bleed. Before everyone does a stare slack-jawed at that. And the commander does turn, watching the man beginning to bleed. Before Marcy does a step forwards, her going to push the chair backwards and pushing the man by the head. Him crashing down as he does go to try and say a few words. Her turning to a woman before she's up and down, pulling out the ball gag, asking if she's going to cooperate. Now, come on, the silent treatment. Though, if you're not useful, I could show you what the doctor did. I can dissect you, put you on a table, and see what I could do. Though, do you want to know one of the worst things about being exposed to medics in so low of a dose? There's a chance that if I do put you under, you can wake up right in the middle of it. But you'll be in shock. Well, I mean, I was paralyzed for those procedures. Left immobile. Best I could do is duct tape you to a table, and one wrong move and all your guts will go spilling right out. The person stares at her. For Marcy does go to hold up her claws, telling her that is what would happen to her. And she does not respond. Before Deku is a hand her the knife, her executing this member of the Enclave. And right now, the man does go to turn. The commander looking at the only person left with him in this room. She'll talk. She will fucking talk. She drank that chemmed up water and saw what they're doing. If his legs were working, this would be better. If he could move, if he could run, do something, this would be better. And the person, whenever they do to take out the ball gag, immediately lets loose the floodgates, telling them a few things she knows about the Enclave. The commander trying to stop her as she has to keep going. And Deku does go to watch on, her expressing their desire to use Caesar as a pawn, to try and take out the Brotherhood of Steel, to try and handle more things. Their revolt, it was a test. When the Enclave can get their super soldiers properly fitted, then they can start taking over the wasteland. As for some of the other experiments, they've already had selection, and a lot of other people were chosen. She heard names. She can give them names. Right. You can definitely do that. How many were chosen this year? 6. 6 more? You all chose 6 more? That's not good. Do you know what that will do to our vault? Uh, I don't know. We don't know much about your vault. Really? No, no, we don't. All we know is what we have. That's really it. I see. Let me do some basic math for you. Our vaults was already starting to go past the 950. With us, definitely went past that. Though we've also had more problems with that. People being born sick, people not making it, and one other little thing. The every now and again that someone in our vault doesn't have the ability to do what we do. Produce 2 more children and live out their life. It's an unfortunate thing, but it does happen from time to time. We can't blame them. It's not their fault. But with that, with another 6, in a decade, our vault will be past 900. Lower than what? 970? Well, no, 870, 860. Never really had to think about that low in numbers. What that will do to us will kill us. I don't give orders. I just listen to them. That was your mistake. This person going to be executed by Chloe. And Deku, he has a turn looking at the commander, going to give the man a big, toothy grin. And we do have Warazuku. He does want to savor this. This man was an especially bad man. And Marcy, she got to play with a little bit of her own tools. Since she does have to do some prep work on somebody. And there actually is the doctor. The doctor, he woke up hours later outside of Vegas. He had his gear. He had a weapon. And he didn't know what to do. He ran. He ran and was not trying to look back. And there is Deku, Marcy, and Chloe. They left. They had left Gamora. And they wanted to check out Vault 21 for a moment. It'll take a few days for him to get back to wherever he's going. Though an airport, they know that much. If it's nearby, he's going to head north. Maybe northeast. If he heads south, that will definitely mean a lot. It will tell them exactly where to go next. Though, they're making bets right now. There's a few places they can head to. Though that word, and then the other one, searchlight, or something, it does sound familiar. But where did he hear it? Where did it come from? That's another problem. And there is currently Deku, who does go to sit in the tower at Freeside. bring up his Pip-Boy, and going to click onto a map. It showing his updated map of New Vegas, not the old world anymore. And he has to see something moving on his map. A little dot that does try to go faster and faster throughout the wasteland, farther and farther away. And Izuku, he does like to see this, since it does mean one little thing. The beacon was implanted, his little tracking device. And with that, he does sit there, wondering about how long it might take him to go anywhere. Placing bets does sound like a fun idea. Then again, if one of them loses, it's gonna suck. There's only one airport in that direction. That must be it. Camp Searchlight. It was a place he's heard some of the NCR Rangers talking about. Oh boy. That's bad. That store's Cottonwood Cove. So what can they do there? Deku going to turn, grabbing something as he's to talk about it. They might have a bit of a problem. What do you mean? We've gone over the old Vegas maps. They're clearly heading to Searchlight Airport. I mean, that's the best place. Big open airfield, most likely abandoned if not hit by a nuclear strike. So it's a perfect place to set up shop. I know, but Deku gonna sit down the radio. Him going to turn and look at the old parts to a radio he has lying there. Its casing with the mechanical guts hanging out. Deku talking about it. Now they might know where this guy is. So, they've got to get out of Vegas pretty damn soon. With the pace he's heading, he might get there in 2-3 days. So that will be their freaking head start. We got time. Yeah. Though we need to wait for his locator, his tracker. We need to wait for it to actually stop there. Once it does, that might confirm it. Then what? Then we have to go over the assumption that that act we all had back there freaked him out. He thinks we're completely deranged, unable to listen to reason, hear it. He saw what we did back there. And that's good. He heard everything, didn't he? He did. I made sure of it. Marcy, you'll get your chance to kill him. I'm pretty sure the act scared him the whole damn time. I know. We all know you would have shot the guy. But we couldn't risk that sound being heard. I know. It was a bluff. Though, how's work on the radios? It's gonna be a bit tricky, but I'm trying to put in a new privacy code. I might need Tommy's Pip-Boy just to boot it up and do a little technical jargon. After that, I'm trying to change up the frequencies on these things. When that's done, we'll have our own private frequency. The codes will be different and the frequency will be a lot different. So unless there's someone going to be on our bandwidth, that's not going to be good. Really? Yeah. Though, maybe it would be a better idea to set them to my Volt's broadcast. Well, no, my Pip-Boy's Vault broadcast. Chloe, does jet fuel always hit that hard? Trust me, I'm pretty sure with what you took, you can pretty much knock out a Brahmin. Noted. Anyways, we've got to get things packed up tomorrow and leave. We made sure to dump him without a radio. And going off the assumption he doesn't get killed out there, that would be good too. Though even then, if they find him out there, they'll probably drag him back home. And toss him in an incinerator. Touche. Deku going to talk about a few things. As we get back to work, and Marcy records our audio log. Deku looking up when Risha has mentioned about the disguises they all had to wear in Gamora. And she doesn't look directly at him, her giving him a bit of a cheeky wink as Chloe can be heard laughing on the recording. And Izuku, after he does make decent progress, he does try to close things up. Currently, him slumping to the ground and going to sit here. Before there actually is where Marcy does come over. Her going to bring up the giant blanket and lay next to Izuku, leaning against the wall before Chloe does go look up. Seeing that it's Marcy does a turn, telling her about how it's going to be cold over there, so they might want to group together. Chloe nodding her head and making her way over. And right now she does go to lean against the wall as she does go to lay her head on Deku's shoulder. And the three, they do so all start going back and forth about what to do. And Izuku, he does try to think. They can get working on the radios when they take their first break. It might be a good idea to head, back to Novak? Maybe. Might be the best option. Though, this does raise more questions. Do you guys want to check out the other airport tomorrow? Which one? The one up north. I'm just saying. We still gotta wait for this guy to get back there. If the airport has some sort of place to rest, it might be good. Nice, wide open. We might be able to assess it. If it wasn't hit by a nuclear strike, that would be good. I think Vegas' systems might have saved it. We have to go under that assumption. But we don't know how much it might have shot out of the air. We still felt the ground rumble. Our ancestors did. I know. But are you sure we have that time? As far as I'm aware, Chloe, we still have to figure out how to contact our people and then make an assault on Black Mountain. Especially if we're going to get a signal out like how Marcy wants. The airport might actually have some good communication gear. Really? Yeah, I mean, don't you think so? It might. If we can get up high enough and send it a signal. If it can have power, that would be better, but not really too sure. Fair. That might take more time. Plus, we'd still be too close to Vegas. It's a big place to hide, and I don't think they'd expect us to head away. Though they find that tracker, they'll know that we're onto them. It might be a while before that happens. I made sure to take a little chunk out. You might not notice it missing for a while. Nice. The three gonna sit there. Reno Izuku going to close his eyes. As the three, they try to get some sleep. They've got to have a bit of an early start tomorrow. And with the doctor running through the wasteland trying to get back home, he is in panic. Their subjects have lost their damn marbles. He's heard of a vault dweller. He's heard about what they can do. But those three are not normal vault dwellers. Not by a damn long shot. They miscalculated a lot of things. They knew they were tough already. But this brutality, it terrifies him. And the man does run crazily into the night. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.